WisdomE Podcast. Welcome to the WisdomE Podcast, where we interview the leading hearts and minds, everything related to wisdom. I'm Storm, your host, and joining me today is Jill Bacarisas, who comes from a lineage of Higaonon storytellers, preachers, healers, and babaylans, or traditional Filipino shamans.
Yes, and chanters.
And chanters. So tell me more about your lineage. I'm so curious to learn more about the traditional ways of Filipino culture and spirituality.
So there are 7 tribes in Bukidnon, and one of which is Higaonon, and that is where my lineage is from. And I am one of those in diaspora because my parents and my grandparents were disconnected from their tribes because they moved in the city. And now I am in the journey of remembering and reclaiming back what it means to be a Higaonon, what it means to be a Filipina, what it means to be a woman of this land.
Nice. And one question I have to start off all of these podcasts is, what is the best piece of wisdom you've received on your journey?
There's a lot, but one of my favorite is that everything in nature is of service. So if you could see, like, ecosystem works because everyone is giving something and receiving and giving. And if you inspect closely a coconut tree, it's just there. The only thing that it does is follow the sun, go back to the roots, follow the sun, go back to the roots. So it'll be able to make a coconut, And it doesn't even care whoever gets the coconut. It just falls down on the ground, or maybe like humans will get it and drink from it, or birds or animals would drink it or eat it, or it could just like fall on the ground and could turn into a coconut tree, or maybe decompose and help another next generation of coconut trees to thrive. Learning from that and being inspired by that kind of like shifted me into like, oh, I'm just here to serve. So I just have, but the journey back to like really knowing your gifts, for you to be able to like really serve that is the work. Everything in this journey is work. Going back to the identity, reclaiming, remembering is work. You cannot just like, oh, I got this wisdom and then that's it. I think it's a lifetime of work. And then you get to have fun. And then you get to heal parts of you, layers of you along the way.
Wow, I can totally relate to the nature's giving part and being part of a community. And even in our own bodies, we think sometimes that we're just this person, we're separate from each other, but even our bodies are communities.
Exactly.
Even our bodies are not just one thing, but it's multiple cells who have different work, working together to create this ecosystem for this vessel.
For this to work.
Yeah, for everything to work. So it is a balance. It is, every cell is giving what they can to make the whole thing function.
Exactly. We need each other. Like, it's really like ecosystem. It's not just you, but you have to work on how everything in your environment works. Community.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I want to hear more about the Higaonon's way of life. I'm so curious about babaylans because, coming from a history of Spanish rule, the Filipinos, we were ruled by the Spanish for 300 years. We had American control. For a bit of time, we had Japanese control. So I'm really curious to learn more about the traditional ways of the Filipinos and why that's important today.
I'm really just in the journey of reclaiming back, and I've had several times that I've immersed myself in Talaandig tribe. It's not even Higaonon because Higaonons are like very, very mysterious. They're a little bit protective with their traditions and rituals, but there's a tribe called Talaandig tribe. These are tribes that are like in one community of soil painters, musicians, healers, and babaylans, and I am very, very grateful that in my journey of reclaiming, I was able to like meet these people, and I was able to like really sit with them in rituals and sit with them over coffee and like listen to their stories and all of that. And that is amazing. And I think it is very important. There's still a lot of work, I think, in remembering and reclaiming back, especially that like, we cannot, it's not easy to like really say go back to the roots, because as much as that is beautiful to like really do, we have to move forward with what we have, with what knowledge that we have. The thing is that we are coming back into this consciousness of coming back to the heart. Right now there is a strong messages in the collective of really like listening to the heart and like getting guidance from the heart. But how am I supposed to listen to the heart? How does that work? You know? But it requires a lot of like immaculate trust to actually, because there's no logical sense in the heart. And so now there's a big shift of a lot of Filipinos wanting to go back to old ways, our spiritual beliefs and spiritual practices. Because now that we are coming back to the heart, it is actually the heart will always find its way back home. And home is that, our spiritual beliefs, our spiritual practices. We are shifting our consciousness into more of a spiritual approach. And then, of course, we've had this yoga, we've had this meditation, we've had this like Western way of spiritual practices and framework. But if if you start following the heart, it's going to lead you back home to these beliefs, to the beliefs, the gods and goddesses that our ancestors has called into and believe. The rituals that our ancestors have created for us to live in harmony with nature.
Wow. So I'm curious to know, like, what are simple ways to connect with one's heart? What simple ways to get back into that heart experience?
I would suggest Hiraya Manawari.
Hmm.
Yes. This is one of the mantras that I've closely worked on for years. Actually, and I've used it in my day-to-day life, because as someone who is a space holder, I it is in my element that I attract people that talks to me about the things that breaks them, things that are bothering them, things that. And so one of the key things that I was able to like really realize is that a lot of us talk so much about the things that we do not believe in, but stop talking about the things that we believe in. If I start talking about love right now, a lot of people would say, here we go again, love, cheesy, and like it's we've talked a lot about these things, but we've become a generation of people who kind of like, that's so cheesy, love again, like so hipster, that's a hippie thing. But we are so fluent and eloquent on talking about things that we don't believe in, like say war, things that are like, say corruption. We've become so fluent about these things, but not so much love. So sometimes the work that I do is that if people comes to me and talk about things that are bothering them, things that they do not believe in, I shift the conversation into what is it that you dream about. And then when you pull it out from them, that story out from them, that's when the work of Hiraya Manowari comes through. In my mind, mentally, I would say, Hiraya Manowari, Hira. I hope that gift inside you can manifest out so we can all live in harmony. Because I believe we all have gifts. This is our service. If coconuts has coconuts, we have gifts that has to come out for a community or a specific environment can work.
Wow. So for some of the listeners that don't understand what Haraya Manawari means, can you give us a definition of Haraya Manawari?
The most common translation of it is may the wishes of your hearts come true. But but if you look closely into the words and really kind of like really investigate or dissect it, Hiraya is from the Sanskrit word Hridaya, which is the spiritual heart.
Mm.
And is mana came from Polynesian culture that actually means gifts. No mana.
Mm.
Or in spiritual sense, it is your divine gifts or your divine power. And wari is hope or wish, you know. And it's very interesting to note that this mantra has lived through colonization. It's still here. A lot of people, but a lot of things like, and it's incorporated with mushrooms and like shamanistic alteration and trance, the Hiraya Manowari. And there is even like a show before in the Philippines. It is like a children's show that is called Hiraya Manowari. And this has like shifted a whole generation because of this show. And this is like kids in mushrooms. And one of the things that struck me the most is that there is a song, kaya kung akyatin, it's like I can go to the mountains, I can climb the highest peak, and I can dive deep into the deepest ocean. And then one of the things that is really important in one of the lyrics is that sa lakas ng isipan at busilak na kalooban, hiraya manawari ating abutin. So that basically means with the strength of your mind and the purity of your heart, you can actually make your dreams come true. That's two core things. And that's very, very important too. Your mind, the synchronicity and the harmony of your mind and your heart to make your dreams come true.
Wow.
You know, so this is the importance and the potency of this mantra. And if we start giving this to each other, especially in a ritualistic space, we could manifest that. We could like hope and wish for these gifts to come out, which is very, very important now more than ever.
Wow, this I totally resonate with what you're saying, and I can especially relate that to one of my, I would say, spiritual mentors is a doctor named Joe Dispenza, and one of my favorite quotes from him is, "If you take a clear intention and an elevated emotion,
It's
you're
the heart
able,
and the mind.
yes, the heart and the mind, you're able to create a new destiny, a new future,
Oh, wow.
and
That
live in creating the future instead of the past programming." So I think it's highly relatable to, may your wishes of your heart come true, may your gifts from your spiritual heart come true through the use of clear intention and tapping into that elevated emotion.
the spirit in your heart, because if it's the territory of the spirit, it's always going to make things beautiful. The point of the spirit is for to create beautiful things. That's the only way, and it's going to do whatever it takes for you to go back to your essence, to your beauty, for you to start creating beautiful things. This is why anything that comes from the heart is beautiful, because it is the territory of the spirit. The spirit lives there. It is our anchor to the spirit, our hearts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That shares some light on like really following how we feel, processing things, and really tuning into heart to make decisions and make choices.
Trust it. Trust the guidance of it, even if it doesn't make sense most of the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm also curious about, you've spent some time with Babaylands. You've spent some time with people that haven't been colonized. I'm curious, like, what is the wisdom coming from them? What is the wisdom coming from these elders?
I think this is just my own digestion. Okay, I cannot speak for the whole tribe. It's a completely different territory. But as my own digestion, it's really like what I said earlier. It's like really one of the things that I admire so much, and I've like really wanted to like incorporate in my life is deep contentment. You know, like say observing a farmer that lives in this tribe, When he is in a community, he can be a farmer. This is my gift is being a farmer. So I'll be able to like really use these gifts and just be a farmer because I am in a community. Like, I don't have to think so much. I come home to a wife that is loving me unconditionally. Come home to my children who I could pass on the legacy. And if I have troubles with legalities and if there are things that I don't understand, I go to a dato. And if I am sick, I go to a healer. And if my crops, like say, oh my God, my harvest is not so good, but it's happening, I can go to the Babaylan. So the Babaylan can talk to the spirits of what is happening. Why is his crops not working? And because of that, because he is like fully supported by a community, he doesn't have to think about anything else but farm. He is stoked and happy and deeply contented with farming. This is it. He doesn't even need recognition at all. Like, he doesn't have to go to Instagram and say, hey, I'm a farmer. I grow up. Look at what is done. Hectares and hectares of food that is being supplied to the people in the city. Just by that, just by you being supported by the community and being in harmony with everything, this farmer is able to do what he's supposed to be doing to give his gift. And because of that, he's able to feed so many of us.
That's one thing I really resonate with being in Siargao. Like, my favorite thing about living on this beautiful island is really the idea of community here and how
Yes, I agree.
everyone's supporting each other and
Mhm.
everyone's listening to each other. And normally I come from Las Vegas, so oftentimes I can just be in my room, but this island is so inviting to
Yeah.
connect and be in nature and be in community, which I really love so much.
Yeah, that's why. For us to thrive, like say we don't have to be like farmers, like because we have to accept we are this generation as a slave in modernization. There's nothing else we can do about that. We cannot just like shift our lives to like farmers and have like a mobile line within us, but the getting like inspiration from that
Yeah.
community. You, I can have, I can take responsibility of my life in a sense. I can put myself, the beauty of being human is that we're not trees. We can go everywhere else. I can put myself in an environment, in a community that I know I can thrive. And then I can look for a leader. I can look for a healer. I can look for a husband that I could partner with and grow children with. You know, I have to make sure that I am around people that knows how to grow food. I have to make sure that I am around people who knows the esoteric ways of healing. I have to have doctors around me. I have to have nurses. I have to make sure that this is around me so I could thrive. So my gifts can come true.
So you mentioned the healers and you mentioned nurses. I'd love to know more about bye lands and their ways of healing and is like, are they popping you Tylenols? Is it herbs? Is it tell me more about their ways, because for me personally, I have a distrust of the pharmaceutical industry. One time, my grandfather, we went to a doctor. He was experiencing some ailments, and I just had the feeling that the doctor didn't care. He was just writing prescriptions. Like, my grandfather was dealing with so much illness, and the doctor was just wrote prescriptions
And then
for
that's
5 minutes, and then just sent us off. And I remember being so angry. I remember just feeling just that energy of like, oh, it's just money.
That's rage.
I know.
That's righteous rage right there.
Yes. And so I'm curious, like, what are you referring to when you're referring to like traditional healers and traditional babaylans and medical intuition?
There's a lot. I don't even know where to start. Like, healers in Bukidnon in these lives are I don't even know where to start because babaylans, these are shamans. These are usually the ones that transcend, goes into trance to look for answers and solutions. They work for the whole community. Like, what is next for the community? What is the guidance from the ether, the spiritual world? And it comes back here on earth and gives like solutions. But there are also kinds of healers that are called abyans. These are like the healers and shamans that works with the spirit, usually animal spirit and spiritual entities to guide them with problems. And if you connect that to medical intuition or energy medicine, we are now coming back or realizing that a lot of our illnesses and diseases comes from emotions that are not processed, things in the territory of our emotional bodies that are suppressed. This is why a lot of us are like, somatic healing is coming out and all of that. And then if you connect that to like abhyans and shamans, this has the ability and capacity to actually not cure you but prevent you from getting sick. Because once you have the sickness, like say once you have the cancer, there's no turning back. You need divine intervention for you to be able to actually cure that. But once it is created, you cannot, once it is manifested in the physical, you cannot undo it anymore. If you're sick, you're already sick. But the power, the potential of abhyans and shamans is actually you can go to them and say, this person betrayed me. It's so hard to forgive because what he did to me was so painful. I feel so betrayed. How can I forgive? Because, like, when one of the things, all spiritual beliefs and frameworks that has existed in this world would always say, forgive. If you want to heal, forgive. And a lot of like studies that I cannot like really logically tell right now or say right now about the importance of forgiving, and so many things, like not just forgiveness, but like say I was hurt by this person, and how can I let go of that hurt? You can go to an abyan actually, and then they can prescribe you with herbal medicine, that you can drink, that can be your ally in forgiving things. And you can talk to this abyan, to this healer. Actually, before I came here, my housemate Joy, he was skateboarding and he fell. He got into an accident that actually kind of like sprained her right arms. And before I came here, I was talking to her, and she went into this here in General Luna. She went into this healer that I didn't know. I know that she's a healer, but I didn't know that she's an abyan. And this happened just before I came here.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she came back in the house and said, "You know that this healer is an abyan?" And I was like, "No way! What happened? Tell me what happened." So she's. This abyan has a spirit that is a child. So the abay is a child, and it possesses this healer. It comes into the body of the healer and talks in behalf of the healer. And then my friend Joy described to me, this is very, very common. Like your eyes would blink and she's actually talking to the spirit who has the name. And then she said, don't swim into the water this time because it's a Holy Week. And she was prescribed with a manana leaf to put around her arms. And if Joy went into the doctor instead of this healer, she probably had her arms like cemento, cast, yeah.
Yeah.
But she didn't because she said this came from her. She doesn't trust doctors anymore because she would pay cheap tons of money that she didn't pay anything for this healer.
Mm.
She just gave a gift and that's it. And now she's better. It was not swelling. She could move her arms. She just needs to put some manana on it, and then she can come back again to this healer tomorrow to see and check if it's like if it's getting worse or it's getting better.
Mm.
And it's just there in the neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
Wow, I can totally relate to that experience too. Just a fun fact, when I visited Siargao for the first time,
Mhm.
I was on my motorcycle driving all the way to Higaonon.
Mhm.
I made a U-turn, and for some reason my bike kind of like spun out while I was making a U-turn and ended up like grazing my elbow, and
Mhm.
I was bleeding, and I thought I was in the middle of nowhere, but I looked and I saw a small hut. Like I was in Union, and I could see, like, right after a spell I was bleeding. I could see this grandma
Mhm.
looking at me,
Yeah.
and I was like, she starts making a signal to just come here while I'm bleeding, okay, and like my elbows are like really bloody, and then she doesn't even talk. She just makes a signal. I start walking over there, and then she pulls a branch from a tree. She pulls a branch and a couple of leaves,
Mhm.
starts rolling it up, and then starts massaging my bloody wound. And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm in the middle of nowhere with this grandma. She's rubbing some leaves on me. But it's my wound, after 2 minutes, stopped bleeding. And it was wild. It turns out
That's
that
a witch.
it turns out those leaves were actually moringa leaves, Tagalog malunggay.
Potent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when I found out. Number one, malunggay can stop bleeding, and number two, there are shamans and medicine people and people who know the plants here, and it's interesting to have finally experienced, like, straight from the source medicine. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm used to going to pharmacies when I'm sick. I'm used to going to doctors when I'm sick, but it was the first time like I got healing straight from nature, and it was free. She didn't ask me, she didn't ask for a receipt or anything. She just pulled from a branch from nature and then just rubbed it on my things. I was like healed, and yeah, that's a experience.
Yeah, in Filipino medicine, I also grew up with this we call hurim or yam yam. This is witchcraft. And there are oils that these healers, and I don't want to call them witches actually, but they're healers that makes all this medicine, and they put hurim or yam yam, which I think is like codes. So they are like putting codes in these medicines.
Mm.
Kera mababaya sekere, these kind of
Wow.
things. They
Mm.
put the in code in their oils that they're making with the help of like roots and leaves, and it is not spoken about, but I grew up hearing from this, and Filipinos knows about this. There are specific medicines that we could put in our wounds that heals in just one day. Wounds would like dry up in just one day. And then we would just say, "What did you use?" "I used this oil." "Ah, that oil has a hurin." That's a yum yum. "Where did you get that?" I got it from a Bisaya healer. A doctor, Bisaya na doctor. We call it Bisaya na doctor. So these are like native healers, traditional healers. And it works wonders all the time.
Wow.
I've never, like, living on the island and having these reef cuts and all that, I've never used like betadine. And although I don't advocate for people not to use it, because it takes a lot of immaculate trust for yourself that you can actually heal it. It's not just like I put the moringa here, then it heals. No, it's really you believing in this moringa plant that it will heal your wound. It's also the mind believing that it will work, and and then like you deep within you, your soul, your spirit, believing that this moringa is going to heal
Wow. That reminds me of Dr. Emoto's water experiment. I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
you. No, I haven't.
So, just a quick story, there was this Japanese scientist who did experiments on water. And what he would do is he would mark waters with bad words, and he would mark some waters with good words.
Oh yeah.
And then every day for 30 minutes, for the bad words, he would like shout bad words, the same bad word to the water, and have the intention of the bad words to the water. And he would do that with every single piece of water, for 1 month straight. At the end of the month, they flash froze the crystals, and he looked at the crystals in the microscope, and the crystals of the bad worded water was all chaotic. It was weird designs, and then the good water had beautiful, intricate designs. And it just goes to show that words and intentions can influence outer things. And after I heard that, I was much more intentional with the words I was saying, much more intentional.
That's the territory of spell casting. Our words are so powerful. It is. So we have to be more. This is why, like affirmations, like all these things coming into the surface right now, like affirmations, like manifesting, like your throat chakra and all of that, because there really is power in our words, and we can cast spell without us even knowing that we are. And if we are not like really connected to our words, our throat chakra, we could say things that we don't mean and can backfire to you. It really can backfire to you. So this is when mindfulness comes in. When you are mindful with your words, you are grounded, you're centered, and so you know what you're talking about.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. So I'm curious, going back to esoteric knowledge and these knowledges that our tribes have been sharing, is there any esoteric knowledge that you'd like to share with us or you feel called to share?
Esoteric knowledge is big.
Yeah.
It's huge. Esoteric herbal medicine is under esoteric medicine, like esoteric, the territory of esoteric. Herbal medicine, faith healing is under that. There are even practices of Reiki, just these healers using their hands and not even call it Reiki at all. Just trusting that my hands can heal.
Oh,
Like,
you know what? You know where I experienced that in culture now? Getting a hilot massage. There's this girl.
That's also esoteric.
Yeah. There's this girl in Siargao. Shameless plug right here. Jolly. Jolly. She's a local massage therapist, and she does hilot. And I swear to God, she has a sixth sense. When she's like, I like kind of do experiments on her too. I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let you massage me. You tell me where I'm sore. You tell me where I have a knot. And she's really able to find these knots in the body. And we've talked about how knots can sometimes be emotional or spiritual knots. She's really able to find these knots. And she says, "Dudurugin ko to." And she's really like, it can be a bit painful, but in the end, I'm like less sore, and these knots are taken away.
Hands.
So, highly recommend to any Siarganons listening. She's a local masajista. Jolly is amazing. Yeah, and anyone just connected to, that does things with intention, that does things with the intention of healing and the intention of service to others. It's really powerful. And I can really feel how, when she does massage me, she's just not doing this for, I'm just getting cash today and then I can clock out. But she's really doing this with the intention of wanting to serve and wanting to heal and wanting to help my life be easier.
You're like, when you're under my hands, I have to make sure that you come out of it healed. And so coming back to esoteric knowledge, and so it's wide. But I think one of the things that is actually dear to me when it comes to like esoteric knowledge is rituals. Like, I'm really just fascinated by it. Like, It's because ritualistic space is where like the spirit are more attracted when people come together and like set an intention together. And not just like in a group, but also you as individual. And like one of the rituals that was taught to me by one of my friends that lives in the tribe is this love ritual that you'll actually just offer a coin in the ocean. And there's a deity that is called Apu Bulalakaw, the goddess of the ocean and the rivers. It's the goddess that rules the ocean and the rivers. And, so you go to the ocean, you throw a coin, and this is a love ritual. So if you meet someone and then you start having feelings for him, you go to the water, you throw a coin, and then you say, Apo Bulalakaw, I think I'm in love.
Ooh.
And please purify me for me to be ready for this love.
Whoa.
Purify me. And then there's a big chance that if it's not the right person for you, the feelings will disappear. You know? And I did that. I was like, who doesn't want that? I don't want to waste my time. And so I did. I started having feelings with this guy, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the ocean and throw a coin. Just really, from my heart, I bow down to you, Abu Bulalakaw. I believe that you can actually purify me to be ready for this love. I don't want to fuck this up. If this is really love, like, you know. And so, and then I prayed for clarity. May I be guided. May I be protected, you know, with this, like, connection, like, you know. And so after that, I I had a date with this guy again, and then all the feelings are gone.
Oh, whoa.
I had so much clarity.
Oh my God.
And then his words started to sound like bola. You know, that he was a bolero. You know, that he was just speaking these words to me just to get me. And there was no sincerity in it. And then I was like, but just because you did the ritual doesn't mean that you're not gonna be hurt. And then you just realize that he was just bolero. So I went home and then I'm like, why? I cried. Like, and then I started like, oh damn, the ritual work. And then, but then you have to let go.
Yeah.
Because that's the point of doing this ritual. This is the esoteric knowledge that I think would save you from a lot of harm. Save you
Yeah.
from, because you know, when you go into a relationship that is not supposed to be, that is not really well intentioned, you're gonna waste your time. Then you're gonna it's gonna stagnate you, you know. And then your gifts wouldn't be able to, I mean, you could still give your gifts, but it's gonna be like not super healthy.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna give a flower, I want to give the flower that is like really blooming and with so much radiance and color. Not just like that.
Yeah.
You know, like here's my flower. You know, half-assed thing. You know.
Yes.
And this could, this could be blocked by relationship. So this is why rituals are so important. So, and there are so many kinds of rituals. There are rituals that cleans your pusod, that cleans you from like the sins of your ancestors or the curses that your ancestors have carried all throughout their lives. There are rituals that ask for when, this is very, very interesting. This ritual, it's called a land ritual, and it is believed that if there is an appliances in your house that constantly being broken, or you're having problems with your aircon or your ref, it's like, you know, or if your refrigerator, there is a nature spirit in your land that is not happy.
Oh yeah.
So there is a ritual that you can do to that.
Or maybe you're just in Siargao during Holy Week.
That is actually also during the Holy Week. People are here and it's so busy. That nature spirits are like disturbed too.
Yeah.
So
Because
they're
like I had a couple of AVRs and speakers go haywire during the last full moon eclipse and like start of Holy Week. So you know what? Now possibly it could be the nature spirits maybe getting angry at how much
People that
are
are
on
here,
here.
yeah.
Other
And
planets.
if we don't understand these things, this is deeper understanding of
Mm,
like our environment and not just like I think it's arrogant to think that it's just us living in a land. You know, there are nature spirits that has lived here before us. And we just come in here and cut the trees and without even asking for permission.
mm,
Can you imagine that? And then, if you hurt them, you'll hurt them. But not all nature spirits are capable of forgiving and like letting you go. Some would really put up a fight. Some nature spirit would, I will not let you like just cut my home. They would just like, and the worst enemy is the enemy that you cannot see. Right? Because they could just like ruin things. And sometimes they could go into your personal lives. One of the healers told me that if, like, say, if your household is chaotic, you're always having problems with your children and your husband and all that,
mm,
there could be a nature spirit behind that. They can be mischievous too.
mm.
So these are the things that we should know about, but we are not capable of knowing, and so we are like living our lives thinking that this is just it, us existing, But then there are so many things around us that is happening without us knowing, but this is the life of our ancestors. This is them, like really having so much reverence to nature because it's not just us, not just humans,
Mm.
but so many pa.
Wow. Yeah, I resonate in a sense where like I believe that we attract who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So if we come upon these lands and we're not mindful, then this is the kind of energy we're going to be attracting into our lives. Energies that are not mindful, energies that are just cutting things, energies that aren't caring about sustainability. So
Oh, that's a good perspective.
yeah, like so what I'm hearing again is to come with reverence,
Mm-hmm.
respect nature,
Exactly.
learn from nature. I've been hearing on keeping intentions, having intentions and listening to your heart. Uh, and a lot of a lot of the medicine can be found in nature. A lot of the things that can heal us can be found in community. And we also talked about Hiraya Manawari
Yes.
and the mantra of really wishing for your spiritual gifts to
Blessing.
blossom.
And not just like really thinking about yourself, but also like having that intention of pulling out the dream from someone else and blessing it. Like really mentally saying, Hiraya Manawari, if a person starts to tell you something that they would love to do, or would love to happen.
So, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience in terms of like offerings you may have in the future, or you do host like a weekly women's circle at home? Yes.
Yes, this is a gathering of women in a circle in a ritualistic space. There's emphasis in ritualistic space because it is a gathering with intention. So when it's done with intention and it is an intention that is coming from the heart, only good things can come in.
Mm.
So so I am offering this. You can come at all. And this is actually rooted from the intention that if you are a woman, there's nothing else in this world that could understand you like a woman do.
Mm.
And to be understood is a need. If
Mm.
you are a woman, there's no one man who could understand you. You will agree. You would never understand a woman.
Well, I've been trying my
You're
hardest.
just trying. Really try harder, but you can't.
Yeah, that is the greatest mystery.
Yeah,
of my life.
exactly. But us knows. We understand. especially if you understand a woman's consciousness, you understand very deeply. And then when you do, that's the medicine. Because once a woman is understood, she can thrive. You would not go around looking for things to understand you. Come to a women's circle, and then you will be understood. Not even your kids will understand you, not your neighbor, not your husband, but a woman. This is the power of women's circle. This is the power of women coming together. This is an evolution of women coming to rivers to do their dishes or like do the laundry. It has always been a need for women to come, gather in one place, and talk and do something. Do like pour our hearts out. This is it. We've not our need to gather together and talk and share our hearts didn't change. But we've lost the river anymore. But then we can come into a circle, you know? This is why a lot of things in the Philippines, there is a serious problem with gossiping. That we have actually coined an entity called Marites, because our need to talk didn't change, as I've mentioned. But if it is done in a space that is not safe, it could be that. It could be gossiping without the intention, it not done in a ritualistic space. It could be that. And gossiping is the worst. It kills the spirit. It's actually you feeling better because someone else is not doing well in their life. So you getting energy from that. Like you'd feel better just because someone else is not doing well in life. But we all do not well in life all the time. We like it's not all the time that we're okay. It's very normal to not be okay, to make mistakes, to make bad decisions. But a lot of us get energy from that to better ourselves, which is the worst.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that the Women's Circle is intended to do.
Wow, that's super powerful because
Thank you.
gossip. I hear what you're saying with gossip, how it's just like an energy that leads to nowhere, and what you focus on
Exactly.
grows. So if you're focusing on the problems versus solutions, then your problems are just gonna grow rather than talking about ideas or talking about
What sets your heart on fire?
mm,
What is it that you love? Instead of like talking about people doing this and that, it's a serious problem. I mean, it's a problem. It's a social issue actually in the
Yes.
Philippines right now. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jill Bacarisas, for having me here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you guys want to catch Jill Bacarisas and her women's circle, join the community.
Just follow Home Wellness on Instagram, and I also have an Instagram. If you go to their page, you'll find me there for sure.
Thank you so much. If you guys resonate, please give us a like. Please subscribe. There's going to be more beautiful beings to extract the wisdom from.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we're really looking to interview the leading minds and hearts on wisdom and, really going on this journey together of how to lead lives that are filled with wisdom and filled with love and healing and alignment.
And reclaiming and remembering the medicine of our ancestors, so we could just like go back to it and live our lives the way it should be lived.